Imagine a highly sophisticated operating system running just beneath your conscious awareness. It dictates everything: your mood, your immune resilience, literally the exact rate at which you biologically age. In modern culture, we tend to view health as, isolated habits, a workout here, a diet there. But today, in this explainer, we're doing something different. We're decoding the invisible, continuous chain reactions happening inside your cells right this very second.
Okay, let's dive right into this. What invisible biological forces are shaping your life today? It's a deeply biological question, isn't it? Because the quality of your life today is dictated by this invisible ledger, like a cellular accounting system that literally never stops tracking your inputs. And the master switch for this entire system, it's something we spend a third of our lives doing, yet we completely misunderstand it.
For decades, we viewed sleep as this passive state of rest, right? Just a biological shutting down. Well, the evidence reveals the exact opposite. When your head hits the pillow, your brain doesn't turn off. It goes to work. Sleep is this incredibly dynamic, highly active state where your body orchestrates its most critical systemic repairs. It recalibrates your redox balance, detoxifies the neural environment, and rebuilds immune resistance. So when you cut this short, you aren't just feeling a little tired, you are actually interrupting a delicate biochemical surgery. And the very first domino to fall, your endocrine system. Just look at the immediate morning after shift. The very morning after restricted sleep, your body shifts into a high-stress catabolic survival state. Cortisol, that's your primary stress hormone, is abnormally elevated. Leptin, the hormone that signals fullness, is suppressed. Meanwhile, ghrelin, the hunger hormone, absolutely spikes. So when you're craving high-calorie foods after a poor night's rest, it's not a lack of willpower. Your biology is literally screaming for quick energy to survive what it perceives as a severe threat. And this hormonal shift instantly alters your brain's emotional circuitry. Which brings us to a staggering neurological discovery. Just a single night of restricted sleep triggers a massive 60% amplification in the amygdala's reactivity to negative stimuli. 60%. The amygdala is the threat detection center of your brain. So with a spike like that, minor everyday frustrations, a stressful email, a traffic jam, are processed by your nervous system as severe acute threats. But why does the brain become so hyperreactive so quickly? The mechanism behind that massive spike is a phenomenon known as prefrontal amygdala decoupling. Basically, under rested conditions, your prefrontal cortex, that's your logical executive control center, acts like a supervisor. It tells the emotional brain, hey, calm down, this isn't a life or death situation. But when you're sleep deprived, those communication lines are literally severed. The emotional brain shifts into a highly sensitive, totally unregulated state, completely stripped of its logical supervisor. And the craziest part? It doesn't take days of total sleep deprivation to do this. A mere 25% reduction in your sleep, getting just 6 hours instead of 8, measurably severs these communication lines. 6 hours is incredibly common, right? It's often praised as a baseline of productivity in our modern culture. Yet beneath the surface, that slight reduction fundamentally shifts how your neural networks function the very next day. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the massive metabolic cost to simply being awake. The synaptic homeostasis hypothesis shows that every single time you learn or experience the waking world, the connections between your neurons multiply and strengthen. This cellular growth is amazing, sure, but if it just continued indefinitely, your brain would literally run out of physical space and metabolic energy. It would become dangerously saturated. Here we see the vital contrast between these two network states. A sleep-deprived brain is trapped in a rigid, saturated state, overconnected and incapable of efficiently taking in new information. It's totally full. But during deep, slow-wave sleep, the brain performs this miraculous process of synaptic downscaling. It quietly prunes away all the noisy, unnecessary connections you form during the day, restoring the baseline balance. This returns your brain to a flexible, downscaled, ready-to-learn state for the next morning. So that covers the physical connections. But what happens to the cellular waste left behind by this immense energetic cost? This pruning and daytime learning creates a massive physical byproduct. Your brain is a highly active metabolic engine, and like any engine, it produces exhaust. If this waste isn't cleared out, well, it begins to accumulate. And that leads us to one of the most consequential discoveries in modern neuroscience. The answer completely changes how we view the biology of aging. Here's how it plays out. Prolonged wakefulness initiates a profound inflammatory cascade. Your brain's resident immune cells, called microglia, normally act as protective sentinels. But under the stress of sleep deprivation, they shapeshift. They polarize into an aggressive, chronic inflammatory state, pumping out pro-inflammatory cytokines. And this continuous neuroinflammation sets the stage for tau hyperphosphorylation, which is the exact mechanism that creates the toxic protein tangles associated with long-term cognitive decline. And this immune shift isn't just isolated to your brain, it is entirely systemic. Check this out. Just one single night of 4-hour sleep results in a breathtaking 50% reduction in natural killer cell activity. 50%. These are the elite sentinels that eliminate dangerous threats in your body, proving that nervous system exhaustion creates a total systemic immune vulnerability. Because that waste is uncleared and the immune system is misfiring, the body descends into oxidative stress. This is a systemic accumulation of metabolic damage. Now, not only does this amplify those inflammatory cytokines we just talked about, but it also does something really unexpected. It heightens somatic pain sensitivity. This perfectly explains the profound link between chronic sleep debt and physical pain disorders. When your biology is bathing in oxidative stress, your pain receptors become hypersensitized. You literally physically feel pain more acutely. And this brilliantly illustrates the metabolic cliff we step off when we ignore this operating system. In less than a business week, just 4 nights of restricted sleep, otherwise healthy adults display pre-diabetic blood sugar levels. Their bodies lose the ability to efficiently process glucose, tipping them rapidly toward insulin resistance. So sleep debt is not just feeling fatigued, it is measurable, systemic metabolic disruption. Okay, so we've seen the immediate hormonal chaos, the mood swings, the metabolic disruption, and the immune suppression. But what happens when this continuous chain reaction runs for years or even decades? We transition from short-term symptoms to the very architecture of aging. The choices we make tonight are actively writing the biological script for how our brain and body are going to function 20, 30, or 40 years from now. During healthy deep sleep, a network called the glymphatic system opens up, and cerebrospinal fluid rushes through the brain. It acts like a nightly pressure washer to clear out all that metabolic waste. But an aging or chronically sleep-deprived brain, it loses this vital clearance mechanism. Without the pressure washer, those neurotoxic proteins are left behind. Once they accumulate, they can self-propagate, driving a runaway cycle of neurodegeneration that slowly, invisibly reshapes your cognitive future. But here is the incredible pivot. If we understand how things break, we hold the exact blueprint for how they heal. The human body is astonishingly resilient. When submerged in the deep, slow-wave delta rhythms of restorative sleep, the brain initiates this profound symphony of recovery. It possesses a massive capacity for neuroplasticity and restoration. It is quite literally a biological reset button available to you every single night. So how do we actually repay the debt? Well, the science offers clear boundaries and massive hope. First, you cannot cram sleep to recover lost memory consolidation. A weekend sleeping marathon won't bring those specific memories back. But you absolutely can break the cycle of chronic fatigue. Committing to prolonged restorative sleep over a period of weeks completely resets the neuroendocrine system. Realigning your circadian rhythm with morning light restores healthy brain connectivity, and most importantly, prioritizing deep sleep directly halts that inflammatory cascade. Which brings us to a profound synthesis. Health is not an isolated checklist of habits. It's not just about what you eat or how many steps you take in a day. Health is an emergent result. It is the beautiful, complex output of countless interconnected biological processes occurring every moment of every day. By understanding the underlying biology, we can finally stop fighting our bodies and start collaborating with them. Let's move to this next slide and see how this all builds, because this is the true operating system of your body. It is deeply interconnected. Look at this chain. Sleep influences your hormones. Hormones alter your mood. Mood shifts your behavior. Behavior impacts your nervous system. Your nervous system drives systemic inflammation. And that inflammation dictates exactly how you age. You are one unified system, where one falling biological domino shapes your entire physical and mental reality. We've uncovered the hidden operating system running beneath your human experience. We've seen how the simple act of sleep protects your neural networks, balances your hormones, and quite literally washes your brain of the day's toxic exhaust. Your biology is brilliant, and it is constantly listening to the environment you create for it. So if your health truly is a continuous biological chain reaction, what tiny decision will you change tonight to rewrite your future?